Hello folks, and welcome to 6 Things I Hate About My Car. It's a 2002 Toyota Celica T-Sport. In America you'll know it as a GTS. So yeah, let's get cracking. Number 1 is not a common issue, it just seems to affect mine and one other that I worked on, and that is the door catch. Now, to show you what I mean, this little hoop thing here, it's got 2 bolts, and for some reason on mine they are prone to coming loose. I've torqued them up to spec so many times, I've even used thread lock, and for some reason they don't stay tight, which makes the whole door, whenever you hit a bump, which by the way in this car, as you'll already know from my previous episodes of the Celica vlogs, bumps in this car do not get on. So every time I hit a bump, it feels like something on the car is going to fall off. Lo and behold, it's actually my door is about to fall off. So let's roll on to number 2. Number 2, again, is specific to my car, and it's my own fault, and it is the lack of anything. This was when I wanted to turn this car into a track car, because I had plans of getting a daily. Unfortunately, financial situation did not allow, but I had already done the conversion, so all of the rear interior had been stripped out, and I'm kinda wanting to put this car to like a refined kinda cruiser, a mile muncher, a GT. It's my own fault, and I do regret it, and I'm slowly accumulating parts. Like, I've swapped the door cards, the centre console, the dashboard, the glove box, all the lower kick trim, the door sills, and these 2 panels here, same on the other side. It's all been stuff I've acquired from scrappies from a facelift model, which I've already mentioned in my interior tour. To try and find the right kind of back seats I want isn't very easy, because there are so many variations. Like, the car originally came with these grey vinyl seats, it was like fake leather, and they're disgusting. They're also no longer in my possession, because they're just not. But there are other variants. I can get red leather, which are rare as. I can get black leather with blue leather centres, which are also very rare. I can get all black leather, or I can get black leather with grey centres. And I keep on making up my mind of which ones I want, and it's usually the black with the grey centres, because the grey is, well, pretty much the same colour as the car, and I quite like that. But trying to get hold of a pair is not easy, so I'm kind of stuck like this at the moment, because once I get back seats in, I won't see all the lack of everything in the boot, and all this metal and everything you can see behind me will be covered, and all this stuff here won't be visible because of the seats. And then I can slowly work on getting the panels for the boot. But yeah, that's number 2, is the fact that there is next to no interior in the back, and it's very noisy on some very adverse roads. Now, number 3 is quite a random one. I don't think anyone would ever notice this unless they're rolling as low or even lower as what I am, and it's actually that the bumper, the side skirts and everything, as you work your way down the car, the bumper and the side skirts stop about an inch or 2 before the actual chassis rails of the car. So while the car doesn't look low, and you can try as hard as you like to try and get the car low, it's to try and keep it drivable, you cannot get the body of the car looking low because the chassis is already just about touching the floor. Now, I'll probably shoot a clip of this to show what I mean, but it's basically the side skirt stops here, the chassis rail stops about here in the middle of the car. And it means that the car doesn't look as low as you want, and the chassis scrapes like hell over anything, and the massive back box that they come with as standard and on this TRD exhaust, which is a huge thing, it's like the size of a fuel tank, sits about that from the ground. So a stone, some gravel, smallest a pothole, and it scrapes city all over again. Now, this is only really specific to the Celica. I haven't seen this kind of issue on anything else, like people running around in Corsas and Polos and blah blah blah. It just seems to be this car, and I've put a splitter on the front, and I've put side skirts on it as well, all from the Dynamic Pack. I think it's an optional extra for the Celica. You could get it from Toyota, and while it has enhanced the look and made it look a good bit lower, the chassis rails are still lower than the side skirts. So I don't really know what my next step will be. Maybe Rhino Lip or something, or Easy Lip, or whatever you want to call it. The rubber, basically, is a weather seal for a garage door, and you just put tech bolts through it. So that's number 3. Number 4 is the age. Now, I've done what I can to make this car modern. I've changed all the lights to blue and white and LEDs everywhere, and I've even put the Audi style switchback DRLs in it, and I've put a doubled in touchscreen in here from Sony, the XAV64BT. That might mean something to someone. And I've tried to update the interior as best as I can, but you can't help but feel it is still an old car. I mean, this is 2002, it'll be 14 in October. Is it October? Maybe July. I don't know, I'll need to look at the V5. Yeah, it's coming up for 14 years old. And it doesn't matter what you do. I mean, I've even got a gauge in here that's tells me everything I want to know. It's a scan gauge 2. Anyone who's got one knows what I'm on about. It'll read codes, it'll read any kind of data that the car itself can't tell you from the ECU. So I've got all that kind of stuff, and I've got extra gauges and blah blah blah, and it's just, it still feels like an old car. Now sometimes that's nice, but other times I'd like this nice, comfortable, quiet, brand new cruiser that has a warranty and everything like that, simply because I don't have to worry about it breaking. Regardless though, I still love the car a bit. Now, number 5 is a very small issue, but it seems to be quite common, and it's the standard Toyota key. Now unfortunately I can't show you on this because I have a flip key. I have an eBay flip key that I've done some wrapping on and blah blah blah. But the standard key just looks like the most kind of basic key ever. But what happens is, over time when you're twisting the locks in the door and you're twisting the lock on the key barrel for the ignition, is slowly the blade starts to work loose from its plastic housing, and eventually it cracks it. Now I was very lucky when I got the car. It was 12 years old-ish, and the key wasn't too bad, but after about 6 months it was gone. So I was using eBay keys and everything, and they still had the same problem, which is why I've gone for a flip key, because it mounts the blade differently, which you can't really see because it's not in focus, but it's got this big chunky bit of metal in it and a screw, and then 2 more screws to hold it together rather than just one. So it does do a better job. There is no give in this key at all. It's solid really. It's a little bit of a rattle, but what can you expect for £3 from eBay? But I've had this for over a year and a half now, and it's perfect. I couldn't complain. I'm happy with it, and it does all the cool new stuff from what new cars do, so I'm happy with it. So I fixed that problem. I just wish that the standard Toyota key would be designed a bit better. Now anyone with something like an Avensis or maybe a Yaris or a Corolla will also know what I'm on about, because the key is the same, bar some of you will have the button for the boot popper. This doesn't. This just has the lock and unlock buttons. So yeah, that's number 5. It's the poorly designed key. And to wrap up, number 6. Now this only specifies between 1999 and 2002-ish. It's the pre-facelift model, it's the interior. Now any Celica owners that watching this video will know exactly what I'm on about. If you've ever seen a pseudo-creme tub, that is the colour of all of this dark plastic stuff. And the dashboard and the pillars and all these panels back here, they are a pseudo-creme grey, and it makes the car feel 10 years older. It's another age thing with this car. I don't know why I'm so bothered about age, because the car is perfectly reliable. It's just, I don't know, maybe because so many other people have got brand new cars and I don't, but it's the pre-facelift interior, but like the bog standard interior, everything is pseudo-creme grey, and it makes the car look so old, it's unbelievable. But thankfully I've been able to acquire all the parts to change the majority of the interior, so it does look a bit more nice, and on camera it looks kind of black and glossy and fancy. So that is the 6 things I hate about my Toyota Celica T-Sport. Thank you for watching.